Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News at 11.
Good evening, I'm Macy Marie. Millions of people in the South and Southwest are bracing for severe weather while others are recovering from tornadoes that struck on Saturday and early Sunday in Texas and parts of Mississippi. At least 5 deaths and dozens of injuries have been reported. CBS's News' Meg Oliver takes a look at the destruction and what's ahead.
It's just devastating.
After the devastation comes the recovery.
Over there is part of my garage.
From Texas to Mississippi, the toll from this weekend's severe weather is still sinking in.
Those homes we can rebuild in a couple days, couple weeks, couple months, but our lives we can't replace.
Torrential rains and high winds have been pounding the South since Saturday. A tornado hit Franklin in East Texas, cutting a trail of damage. In a nearby town, 2 children, ages 3 and 8, were killed when a tree branch hit their car.
People saying, oh, your house is gone, this is gone, that is gone. I don't care. I'm still walking around here.
1 death was reported in Mississippi, where the extent of the damage could be seen from above. Now, millions of Americans remain at risk from the extreme weather. Severe thunderstorms are possible over a large portion of the eastern U.S. through Sunday evening, while tornadoes remain a threat for the upper Ohio Valley. Meg Oliver, CBS News.
Scattered and potentially destructive winds are also expected overnight from the Ohio River Valley into the mid-Atlantic states. And in Ohio, a tornado uprooted a tree on the side of a mid-1800s house that served as part of the Underground Railroad. Part of the tree fell through a window on Friday night. Nearby power lines stopped the tree from completely falling through the home, but the family that lives there still has to move out because of the damage. To avoid hitting a car this evening, Bell County volunteer firefighters drove their truck into a ditch. The crew was headed to a call about downed lines. They say they had their lights and sirens on when they nearly missed the car. One firefighter was checked out for minor injuries. The fire truck was slightly damaged during that crash. Officials are asking people to avoid traveling on Kentucky 160 in Hindman tonight while they clear trees and power lines off that road. The mess is near Ivis Bible Church. Crews say the trees and lines fell tonight. Several crews are working to clean that up, and we'll keep you updated whenever the road does come back open. And some of the regions still without power tonight following severe weather this afternoon. Kentucky Power reports more than 1,100 people are without power at last check. And several other power companies are reporting outages in multiple counties. You can find the latest numbers on our website at WYMT.com.
Active day across the region with storms, but thankfully not much in the way of severe weather, at least with warnings. We did see, again, as Mason mentioned, a lot of those power outages and some wind damage across the area. Let's take a look at the last 6 hours on the satellite and radar. A lot of those storms rolling through, and thankfully quickly. But tonight we're seeing clearing skies, cloudy for a while, and then hopefully by the time we get into the morning hours, maybe a little bit more daylight showing up there with the sun coming back out, and much cooler as well. Cold front came through, live pinpoint Doppler radar quiet this evening here just after 11 o'clock. Downtown Whitesburg had a little bit of small hail earlier today. We were watching it on this camera, but now all quiet in the evening hours. The wind dried everything out pretty good. Some fog possible in the overnight hours, but not seeing too much of that right now across the region. Temperatures, look at that drop there from 59 in Logan and Wise to 43 in Somerset, Danville, 44 there in Monticello. The winds are still cranking though, shifting from the south to the west, and we're going to continue to see that in the overnight hours, so just kind of keep that in mind. Windy overnight, getting down to the upper 30s, close to 40, with breezy conditions all throughout the night. But again, it will be dry. Macy, I'll have the rest of the forecast coming up here in just a few minutes.
All right, thank you, Brandon. It was a scary situation for a Floyd County couple. On Friday, while they stopped at a gas station in Harold, a woman begged for help, claiming she was kidnapped by a man in Martin. However, police say that is not true. WYMT's Marianne Fletcher talked with a duo about their experience.
A fun Friday spent at Hillbilly Days ended in worry for Chandra and Drew Halbert.
I've honestly never been so scared in my life. Never seen somebody so scared in my life. It was awful.
Chandra says it started when she and her husband stopped at a Double Quick gas station in Harold.
And as soon as we start slowing down, this woman hops out and she's looking at us and she comes running.
Drew slightly rolls down his window to talk to her.
And she starts beating on the window. Please help me, help me, help me, help me. He's kidnapped me. Please help me.
Chandra says she knew she needed to help this woman.
You could tell that she was messed up, but she knew enough that she needed help.
While Drew talked to the woman, Chandra dialed 911. Soon, Kentucky State Police pulled into the parking lot.
He hops out of the vehicle, and I walk around the vehicle, and she comes running to me, and I catch her, and she starts screaming and crying.
Police find the man inside the gas station, but this is when the story takes an unexpected turn.
It's like something you see in the movies. Like, honestly, yeah.
Kentucky State Police troopers say the woman fabricated the story.
I've never seen somebody so scared in my life. She was shaking so bad,
leaving Drew and Chandra in shock.
Like, now I'm terrified to do anything by myself without Drew.
In Floyd County, Marianne Fletcher, WYMT Mountain News.
And we do not know the identity of the man or woman involved in those false allegations. Kentucky State Police say no one was arrested. And over in Laurel County, deputies arrested a driver who crashed into another car while under the influence Saturday afternoon. It happened off West Cumberland Gap Parkway, about 10 miles south of London. Deputies say Jason Coffey rear-ended another car, injuring the two people inside. A woman who was a passenger in Coffey's car was taken to the hospital. Deputies charged him with DUI along with some other charges. The Queen of Country Music turns 87 today. Happy birthday to Loretta Lynn, who is known for her long list of awards, including being the first woman to ever win the CMA's Entertainer of the Year, and for being a coal miner's daughter, of course. In July, her brother Herman Webb died. Webb was the one who took care of her home place and gave tours around the area. Now his family has taken that task over.
Well, before he passed, he told me, he said he wanted us to try to keep the store going down there. We have a grocery store, Webb's Grocery, and he wanted us to keep giving tours here at the home place. And so we're going to try to continue with this, because this is like our family's legacy. You know, this is our history.
Wonderful tour. If you haven't got the chance to go out there, I highly recommend it. Loretta Lynn is taking a break from touring right now due to some health issues. At least 2 people have been killed and 5 others injured after a small plane crashed into a parked helicopter during takeoff at the only airport in Nepal's Everest region. The plane skidded off the runway, hitting the helicopter of Mangan Air. Both are private airline companies that cater to tourists, and Nepal is the country's remote areas. Ivanka Trump is starting a tour of Africa to promote her Women's Global Development and Prosperity Program. She's now in Ethiopia to meet with women working in the coffee industry. She will also tour women-run factories that produce household furnishings and other products. On Monday, President Trump will attend a conference with high-profile Ethiopian women, including Ethiopia's first female president. White House officials today defended President Trump's controversial proposal to send detained migrants to so-called sanctuary cities. Those are often democratically controlled towns and cities that refuse to fully cooperate with federal immigration enforcement. Errol Barnett has more from the White House.
If Democrats would step up and help the president fix the laws, this all could go away.
Press Secretary Sarah Sanders today reinforced the administration's plan to send detained migrants to sanctuary cities, many of them run by Democrats.
They support open borders, they support sanctuary cities, so let's spread out some of that burden and let's put it in some of those other locations if that's what they want to see happen and are refusing to actually help fix the problem.
Whether it's catch and release or chain migration or any of them, the asylum laws are absolutely insane.
On Friday, the president once again vented frustration about the nation's immigration and asylum laws, while insisting Saturday he has the absolute legal right to implement his transfer plan. Opponents of the president's plan call it expensive, dehumanizing, and illegal.
This is, again, his manufactured chaos.
The president has no right to spend money appropriated by Congress for other purposes.
Jerry Nadler, who chairs the House Judiciary Committee, said today he's interested to hear more from the president's senior advisor, Stephen Miller.
We heard several weeks ago from whistleblowers that Steve Miller came up with this, and probably Steve Miller, who seems to be the boss of everybody on immigration, ought to come before Congress and explain some of these policies.
Now, the White House is also pushing back against reports President Trump offered a pardon to his new acting secretary of the Department of Homeland Security if he broke immigration law. Press Secretary Sarah Sanders dismissing that notion Sunday, saying President Trump is about law and order. Errol Barnett, CBS News, the White House.
The White House is also pushing back on reports President Trump offered a pardon to his new acting secretary of the Department of Homeland Security if he broke immigration law. The press secretary Sarah Sanders dismissing that notion Sunday, saying President Trump is about law and order. Mayor Pete Buttigieg of South Bend, Indiana today made it official he's running for president. Buttigieg kicked off his campaign in his hometown. He's the 18th Democrat to join an already crowded field. He's an Afghanistan war veteran and a Harvard grad, but he says he's a less traditional candidate. He's married to his husband, Chasten. Pete Buttigieg is the first openly gay presidential candidate.
I recognize the audacity of doing this as a Midwestern millennial mayor. We live in a moment that compels us each to act.
Buttigieg told the crowd today that freedom, security, and democracy do not belong to one political party and that he's running to champion the causes of workers and families. In polling conducted before he declared, he is placing third in both Iowa and in New Hampshire. And still to come on Mountain News Weekend Edition, people gather around the Pope celebrating Palm Sunday and joining in en masse.
The storms are gone and the cooler air is moving in behind that cold front. I'll have the forecast to help you get the new week started coming up.